Hey guys, today I'm going to go over a new product I got in, the GIVI Monokey E55 case. This is a top case that is going to go on the back of the bike. It's going to do two things. Double my storage capacity. It has the capacity of 2 side bags, and it's going to be a nice backrest for the wife. So let's go ahead and go through it, and I'll show you all about it and how to install it on your Yamaha FJR 1300. This is going to be for generation 2 and up. I chose this particular unit based on, number one, good feedback from a lot of people on the internet and forums dedicated to the bike. For the most part, very positive things to say about it. The other huge plus over the OEM case, for example, is the price point. Straight out, I love the look of the OEM top case because it matches the bike. Obviously the paint is the same, but the styling is the same. Big problem with it though is the configuration and the size. You can't fit 2 full helmets in the OEM case. Right there, it knocked it out of contention. Never mind the fact that it's $1,000 for everything you need to put it on your bike. I got this with the mounting system, which I'm going to go over in detail, for just under $450. Much, much better deal and a bigger case. Now there are lots of options for these, and of course there are lots of other cases that you can get. GIVI has a wide range of different types and different sizes. There are also other companies out there. So I'm not saying this is the very best top case. I'm not even saying it's the best for you. Do your research and figure out what kind of features and looks are important to you. Now this is just the base model. So all you get is the case and a couple keys. They give you one regular one and then a flatter one that you're supposed to put in your wallet just for emergencies. And it works exactly the same way as the side cases on the bike. You have a carrying handle so you can take it off just like the stock luggage, and then it opens up. Okay, I mean there's not really much to it. It's not rocket science. Same kind of bungee cords, plenty of space, a fairly flat bottom. You just have a little bit of a mechanism in here for the lock protruding, but other than that, fit your helmets here no problem. Obviously pack it with whatever you want. The lid has a little flip down plastic thing just for documents. And that's it. Really not much to it. The bottom mounts are pretty much like the side cases. You have 2 slots here that just kind of clip into some legs on the mount, whatever mount you choose, and then a latching and locking mechanism. And this button here releases that lock and latch, kind of like pulling up the big lever on the side cases to take them off. Key is a normal key, and actually this key is beefier than the dang keys that come with the bike. Those things bend like butter. This is thicker. A lot stiffer key. I like that. I wish the bike had this. So, what do you need to know when mounting? First thing you need to know is the case is not all you need if you're going to put one on your bike. Cases are a 3-part system. You have the case itself, which you can choose, obviously, like I said, a wide variety of options from. Then you have whatever the case mounts to. Because it is a quick connect system, it's made to be taken on and off with a latch or a key or whatever. You have to have some kind of mount, okay? This is the GIVI mount for this case. These are the 2 tabs that the case goes into, and this is what the locking and latching mechanism clamps down to. This does not go directly on the bike though. This is to match the case. They have no idea what kind of bike you have. So this has to go on another mount, and that is specific to your bike. Now for the Yamaha FJR 1300, you have a choice of several different mounts, 3 of which from GIVI itself. This is their beefiest model, and I'll tell you, all the different mounts have pros and cons. The pros to this one, this is the 357 mount, the biggest, heaviest duty one they have, and I'll tell you why I got this one over the others. This one replaces some parts on the bike. The bike, here I'll show you, your bike will have some kind of factory mounting system. In this case, we have this red plastic luggage rack, as they call it, and grab rail. And it's bolted down with these 3 bolts to the bike itself. This piece under here, this triangle shaped piece, that is the top of the taillight assembly, and this bolts right down into the frame. And when I take off the seat for the install, you'll see how this bolts in. This is pretty weak. There are some mounts that you can get that will utilize these 3 bolts and you don't have to disassemble any of this. The problem with those is support. In the case of the GIVI, if you use the mount that uses this system here, so it's easier, it's a little bit cheaper, it looks nicer because it keeps this, you're limited to 13 pounds of carrying capacity in your top case. Well, that's pretty useless, especially on a big double barrel case like this. I'm probably at some point going to want to carry more than 13 pounds. So by getting this one, it doubles that capacity, just about doubles that capacity. This is steel, not plastic. This replaces this top piece here. So I do have to unbolt this. That's a matter of 5 bolts, who cares? And then this will go in its place. And then the quick connect mount goes on top of it. And then the case snaps down onto this guy here. So what you're left with is, instead of the nice pretty red painted, you get this what looks like powder coated steel. So that's the only con to this system. Other than having to do the assembly and disassembly, you're left with this. Now, if that's important to you, you can of course paint the mount, or you can do what I'm going to do, completely take the system on and off when you need it. Yes, of course, that's going to be more inconvenient. But for me, I'm only going to be using this case, I don't know, 5 or 10 times a year. This is for when the wife and I have to go somewhere and we need the extra space when we don't want to carry our gear. You can see, it's a big case. It's a lot of space. This is for when, like, we want to go to Disney and we don't want to carry our jackets. If we go to a restaurant or something, it's no big deal. We can put our helmets in the cases and carry in our jackets, or carry everything in if we don't really want to do it, whatever. If it's just me alone, 2 cases is all I need. Helmet in one, jacket and crap in the other, and I'm good to go. But with 2 people, I'm out of room. So that's why I got the case. It's not going to be used on every trip. Most of the time when we go out, it's just the wife and I riding, and we might stop at a restaurant or a bar or something like that. So it's not needed all the time. And it's certainly not going to stay on my bike, because I love the look of this painted stock grab handle. I think it looks beautiful. But got to do what you got to do. So let's go ahead and get this guy on. The first step is obviously removing this. It's really not that big of a deal. So with the seat off, first thing I have to do is take out some of my gear that I have in the back here, just because we need to clear this red bar that's going across. Now we have 5 10mm bolts that we need to remove. Now with all of these loosened, they can come off. What you want to be aware of is what's underneath them. We have hard washers under these 3. We have some larger kind of padded washers under the bar here. Just keep everything together, especially if you're going to do like I do and be taking it on and off. So these bushings here go through this cross member down to the frame. These stay together. Let's go ahead and remove the rest here. Now we can lift off the grab rail assembly. And I'm just going to keep these guys together in the hole and set this aside, so it's easily put right back into place. Now the first thing you want to do is lay out all your parts. We have a big bag of fasteners here, and they do use quite a bit of different fasteners. I think they could have consolidated this a little bit. They have 3 or 4 different bolt sizes, some different bushing sizes, different nut sizes. So take a look through your instruction sheet. It goes through everything. It's pretty simple to follow in picture form. And the only thing you have to modify right out of the box is this little rubber protector. And this is to slide over some tabs in the steel so you don't mess up your finish. All you have to do is cut this guy in half. That's the only thing you have to do, other than turning some wrenches. So let's get started. I'm going to snip this in half. I'm going to lay out my fasteners. Half of these are for attaching the new bracket to the bike, and then half are for attaching the quick release to the bracket. So it's really not that big of a deal. And again, once you do it once, you keep the stuff with the stuff. This is going to come on and off in, what, 2 minutes after you're done? So don't be put off or think that I'm crazy for wanting to take this on and off a lot. Doing this video, it's going to take 10 times longer than it will in real life. So here's our fastener kit in total. Again, this is for both connecting the rack to the bike and the quick release to the rack. Small bolts, big bolts, one medium bolt, a couple big bushings, smaller bushing, really small bushings, small nuts, some caps, some pads, some medium-sized bolts, some 2 different size washers. This one goes up here. Some rubber washers, some big thicker washers, and those 2 pads. And then we're just going to follow the old diagram here. That'll get us attached to the bike. And then that gets that attached, and that just snaps right on. Let's go. The first thing we want to do is apply these rubber protectors. They go right here on these 2 little braces, because these are going to sit right down against the bike. Just slide these over. Just little U-channel pieces of rubber. And then the rest is going to go on just with 5 bolts and some bushings. Now we can put it in place here. Just carefully align it in the groove where the stock bar was. Now we got some bushings to put in. Got 2 different sizes. The little guy, he obviously goes in the center one in the back, and the 2 bigger ones sit up here. They kind of fit nicely in the stock rubber O-ring gaskets there. Oop, gotta make sure this doesn't slide out. These little U-channel rubber things are not a snug fit, so be cautious with them when you put them on. You know what? I'm going to trim this one a little bit because I didn't quite get it in half, and there is about a millimeter interference between this and the groove cut in here. I've barely got clearance in this one. This goes in fine. I'm just going to trim literally a couple millimeters off of this just to put it in there. And there we go, much better. Now it doesn't interfere at all with the factory fairing there. Now the 5 bolts that go in the rack to the bike, real simple, they're the bigger bolts. We've got 3 different sizes. These 2 little shorties go down here. I'm just going to start them in by hand. And you want to do all of these real nice and snug. About what you do a spark plug to. They're not likely to come loose, but of course you need this nice and stiff. Now the 2 longest go up here in these bushings, or through the bushings I should say. And you know what? I have a manufacturing defect. There's a little bit of a weld here, just a little blob stuck in the way, and I can't get a bolt through there. So I'm just going to grab some needle nose pliers real quick, pop that off. Stand by. There we go. Just a little tiny ball of excess weld that probably just flew in there. Nobody noticed. Now I do have a tiny bit of exposed metal now. What I'm going to do is, after I'm done with all this, I'll pull it back off, and I'm just going to hit it with a little bit of Plastidip, or you can use some black paint or even nail polish, whatever you want. Just don't leave yourself any exposed metal because that will get wet. Alright, now we can put our bolts in. This little guy down here. Big one's up here. Medium one back here. the other big guy. And these guys all get cinched down with a 5mm Allen key or socket. Real good and snug. And there you go. That's all there is to mounting the new rack to the bike. So now I can put the seat back on and we'll put on the Quick Connect. Now the Quick Connect goes on with just 4 attachment points. Again, you see more in here because this is designed to go on a variety of vehicle mounts. So you're not necessarily using all the mount points. This particular bike just uses these back 4. What we have are the remaining bolts and their little washers. These go on top. We have the pad in between. And then we have these nuts that go on the bottom. Hard washer, rubber washer, and bushing. And then to top it off, if you want to, you can put on these caps that will sit on top and cover up the bolt holes. I'm not going to worry about these because it's not staying on the bike. These are important for water protection, but it's not going to be on the bike long enough for it to even matter, and it's just one more thing to take on and off when I need to. So these are optional depending on your use, of course. So let's go ahead and put these 4 on and button it up. All you need is, again, a 5mm Allen key and a 10mm wrench or small socket to hold the nuts on the bottom. Now all these guys, snug them up, don't torque them all until they're all fairly snug. And these just torque down 6 or 8 foot-pounds. Nice and tight, but you don't want to even try to strip out these little nuts. Okay, this is not going anywhere. This shouldn't be as tight as you do a spark plug, for example. Just real good and hand tight. Then go back and torque them all again, because when you do one side, the others will loosen up just a little bit, kind of like putting on a wheel. Just make sure that your nut isn't spinning on the bottom and you'll be good to go. There we are. So now we have a real nice secure top case. There's no flex and the beefiest support you can possibly get. Rigidly mounted to the frame of the bike. Now let's go ahead and put on our top case, which is super easy. Putting the case on is very simple. All we have to do is line up these tabs with the slots in the bottom of the case. It slides forward until it's snug. And this is the most critical thing with any top case. You absolutely have to make sure you have it mounted securely. There are a few reports out there of people losing these things on the road, but they are few and far between. So don't be putting it on incorrectly and experiencing a big problem. Now all you have to do is press down firmly until you hear a very secure click, and it is on there. Ain't going nowhere. Boom. Now I'm going to wait until I have a lot more time with this to give you a full review. So this is just going to be an install and a first impressions video. Check back with me later for my total review, and I'll give you every plus and minus I can think about. Real quickly though, to go over it, like I said before, you've got your key, vertical is put in and take out. Turning it to the right with normal force just puts it in the unlock position. And all you have to do to open the case is press where it says press, which is also the carry handle, and it pops the whole lid up. Now it doesn't have any struts, so if your bike is tipped back, if you're on a hill or something, you're going to have to hold it open. I was kind of surprised about that. I thought it would have at least a detent. But with it parked on level ground, because the back end is slanted down, it stays up absolutely no problem whatsoever. And it has these rubber straps here to keep it from flopping forward. Just a plastic document holder here. Standard plastic straps here, just like the OEM side cases. Not plastic, bungee. I usually don't use these at all, but I'll keep it attached just so I don't hear any rattle noise. And that's really about it for the interior. Like I said before, this is the base model. These are just reflectors, they're not lights. GIVI has an LED light kit. There's also one from a site called Admore that is a lot better as far as all the reviews I've seen. So if I do lights, I'm going to do the Admore kit. And it is a very simple bolt-in kit. You have to drill one tiny little hole, but these are made to accept lights, so they're not just for show. The top part comes standard in a matte black. You can get color-keyed lids. They're about $60 online. So if I was keeping this on the bike, I would certainly get the red one. That would look a lot better. And they do have some other color choices there. They have an optional backrest for your passenger, which I think is an absolute ridiculous item because they want $70 for it. So $80 retail, $70 is what it sells for. It's just a stick-on little piece of gel. Make your own, people. But here's a tip: if your significant other has padding or protector in their jacket already in the back, they don't need it. I had the wife test it, and she says, nope, they're good to go. So her jacket's fine. She has a Joe Rocket, so do I. We both have spine protectors and padding, so it fits. It's comfy on her back, no problem there. If you turn the key just a little bit more, just basically touching it past the right, it pops out your handle for you. To remove it, well, I guess I'll show you to close it first. To close it, nothing special. You just close it. There were some weird instructions I've seen about how you have to hold the key or hold this down to close it. This closes completely normally, so don't know what to tell you. It's a completely normal latch. To remove it from the bike, you just have it in the unlock position and you press in the big red button down here. Just hold the case because it's going to pop straight up. And you lift it off, basically just like your side cases. And then you have your piece of luggage, and you're good to go. Now, if you don't mind the way this looks on the bike, and you know, truthfully, it doesn't look that bad because of the way the seats flow. It's nice and black. I don't know. I'm kind of tempted to leave it and just put in the little caps. These little decorative caps here that just cover the holes, and they give you enough to cover all the holes, even though you don't have bolts in all of them. But we'll see. It's really not a big deal to put on or off, as you saw. Like I said, if you're not making a video, this is a couple minutes worth of work. Big freaking deal. You got a ratchet, a wrench, and an Allen key, and you're popping it on and off. But I really like the way it looks on the bike. It matches the color scheme very well. They do also have this in another color scheme. They call it the Tech version. And the only difference is this center section. On the standard version, you have the matte black basic sections, silver in the middle, and the red colored reflectors or light receptacles. In the Tech version, this is all clear. So that kind of matches different colored bikes, especially if you have a black bike. That would look really super. So you don't have any red color in the back of the Tech version. Everything is clear. And really depends on your taste which one you go for, what options you want to get. There's a bunch of other stuff you can get to tweak these out. One I really don't understand is a remote for popping it, kind of like popping the trunk on a car. I don't get it. I can press a button. I don't need to pay. I think it's like a $40 option, or you can get it in. They have certain models that have certain options bundled in it. Like they have one called the Luxury Edition, which gives you the remote and the lights. Yeah, I don't really get that one. That's so hard. I need a remote control to do that. I don't know. Silly to me, but hey, buy what you want. Anyway, hope this helps you make up your mind if you want to get it or not. Kind of showing you the size of it here and what it can do and how easy it is to put on and off. But again, make up your mind when you order it what you're going to be using it for, because that will determine what kind of mount you get. I suggest this 357 mount because you can do whatever you want to with the case. You're not limited to that ridiculous 13-pound limit, which, by the way, the OEM also has a very low limit on. So if you do need extra carrying capacity, you're going to have to go aftermarket, whether it's this or something else. So there you go. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. Visit the site, TwoWheelObsession.com. I got a whole bunch of other stuff on there, not just my videos. Got a lot of other people doing really cool videos on there as well. So check them out. We'll see you next time.